If I'm the 26th North Carolina, I've been doing fort duty for a couple of years. I'm the largest unit in the Army of Northern Virginia, just under 900 men. So I am a well-stocked, well-equipped, well-trained, well-led unit. And I'm probably anxious to get into the fight. You know, I have a young 21-year-old Colonel Burgwin, and I'm spoiling to get at the Yankees. You know, this is my chance. Been sitting in those forts watching things, and now here I find myself in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, finally in the main show, and the eyes of Robert E. Lee are upon me, and behind me is Herr's Ridge, and I formed up there, and you know, Robert E. Lee shows up on the field at about 2:30 in the afternoon, and he doesn't want to fight. But he sees what's going on. Robert E. Lee sees that this is his chance. And so he gives his commanders the word. This is it. It's time to go in. You know, I think in Robert E. Lee's mind, he's fixing to end the war today on July 1st, 1863. And so there I am, the huge 26th North Carolina formed up behind me. And I'm taking some fire as I march down. And I cross this little creek behind me. And in front of me, there is some firing going on. You know, this is all kind of cow and animal country, so all this scrub, anything under a cow's face, has kind of been eaten up. So there is much more fields of fire than we see today. And I get across the creek as quickly as possible because I'm starting to take fire. Of course. Maybe we reform right here. You know, maybe we take a breath, but we've been on fire for a couple of minutes, really. Heavy fire, you know, against the Army of the Potomac for the first time. We're pretty sure what's up there. And we get here and maybe we pop off a few rounds. And up there, the Iron Brigade is waiting for us. And so here we go. You know, we got to get up this hill. We got to clear the Yankees from McPherson's Ridge. Our lives depend on it. Our home depends on it. Our families depend on it. And if I'm the 26th North Carolina, you know, I guess there's a bunch of reasons why I'm fighting in this war. But I got this far because I am well led. I'm well trained. You know, I'm ready to get into the fight. And here I'm taking shots. And flag bearers are falling. The 26th lose 7 flag bearers, including their colonel. But I keep coming. Probably got my dander up. But beside me, my uncles, my cousins, my brothers, my friends. I can't run. I can never go home if I do that. So up this hill, under fire, here I come. There's my monument. And there stands the Iron Brigade. This is the ground between the 26th North Carolina and the 24th Michigan of the Iron Brigade. And when you're on the firing line, I don't think you're thinking of home or hearth or the loved ones you've left behind. Maybe not even in the men next to you. Here's what you're thinking. Load, handle cartridge, tear cartridge, charge cartridge, draw rammer, ram cartridge, return rammer, prime, shoulder arms, ready, aim, fire. Load, handle cartridge, tear cartridge, charge cartridge, draw rammer, ram cartridge, return rammer, prime, shoulder arms, ready, aim, fire, 3 times a minute until they break or you die. If I am the 24th Michigan, I've marched a pretty long way to get here. They call us the Iron Brigade for a reason. We held our own against the Stonewall Brigade at 2nd Manassas. We forced the passes at South Mountain. We fought like devils at Antietam. And here we are. 1st Corps, 1st Division, 1st Brigade. We are the Iron Brigade of the West. We are the toughest fighting unit in the entire Army of the Potomac. And we're fighting on our own land, at least the North. And over there on Herr's Ridge, we see the rebels form. Already on this ground, we captured Archer's brigade early in the morning. They figured out it's not militia. It's the Army of the Potomac. And here we stand, those black-hatted fellows. And here comes the 26th North Carolina, down Herr's Ridge, over the creek. And we know that's the Army of Northern Virginia over there. And Robert E. Lee is off somewhere. And that's a pretty fat unit coming at us. So we may fire off some shots, let them know what's coming. They get to the bottom, in between Herr's Ridge and McPherson's Ridge, and they're crossing the creek, and we're holding our fire a little bit. Colonel Morrow wants them to get a little bit closer. Just a little bit, so we hold our fire. And up they come. And as they're coming up this final little hill, we men of the Iron Brigade give them hell. And then they get to the top. It's like the whole Army of Northern Virginia is now opened up on us. We have under 400 men. They have almost 900. We are outnumbered, but we are the Iron Brigade. And we do not break. Those crossed here now 40 yards apart. It's the largest regiment, one of the best trained, best led regiments in the Army of Northern Virginia. And they don't break either. So we trade shots. For how long? I don't know. 10 minutes? 20 minutes? The rebels are just bringing too many men to bear. So it's really only a matter of time. You know, they say maybe that heroes rise to the top. I gotta tell you, that's not how it works in battle. You don't rise to the top because you're a hero. You fall to the level of your training. And both of these units, the 24th Michigan and the 26th North Carolina, are trained, hardened men, probably teenagers more than men. And here they stand 40 feet apart, slugging it out. And for that time, this is the most ungodly, most horrific place on earth. Load, fire, load, fire, load, fire. How many rounds do you get off? You know, optimal situation, you're getting off 3 rounds a minute, but under fire in combat, this isn't optimal. But if you're the 24th Michigan, you're going to fire until your pouches are empty. And then you're going to take bullets from those who have fallen around you. And slowly, sheer weight of numbers, you're going to start falling back. And North Carolina is going to move forward, and they're going to take this field. It's 40 yards of hell and flame and just awfulness. I don't know. Why do you do it? You do it because of the men next to you? Do it because the folks back home? You do it for your state? But here, more than anywhere else on the battlefield, you just fire until one side breaks. And they didn't break here between North Carolina and Michigan. Here we are in Gettysburg, July 1st, 1863. I'd now like to read from the official report of Colonel Henry Morrow of the 24th Michigan Infantry, written February 22nd, 1864, and included in the official records. He writes, I have the honor to submit the following report of the part taken by the 24th Michigan Volunteers in the Battle of Gettysburg, July 1st, 1863. At an early hour on July 1st, we marched in the direction of Gettysburg, distant 6 or 7 miles. The report of artillery was soon heard in the direction of this place, which indicated that our cavalry had already engaged the enemy. Our pace was considerably quickened, and about 9 a.m. we came near the town of Gettysburg and filed off to the left, leaving it on our right. We crossed an insignificant branch and were moved forward into the line of battle on the double quick. The cavalry immediately in our front was hotly engaged with the enemy, and the brigade was ordered to advance at once, no order being given or time allowed for loading our guns. I halted my regiment for this purpose, but was directed by a staff officer, I think he belonged to the staff of General Wadsworth, to move forward immediately without loading, which I did. The order to charge was now given, and the brigade dashed up over the hill and down into the ravine through which flows Willoughby's Run, where we captured a large number of prisoners, being part of General Archer's brigade. The cavalry in the meantime had taken position on our left flank. In this affair, the 24th Michigan occupied the extreme left of the brigade, the 19th Indiana being on our right. I here lost my color bearer, Abel G. Peck, a brave and faithful soldier, several of my color guard, and many of my men. After advancing to the crest of the hill beyond the run, we were halted and threw out skirmishers to the front and also to the left near a brick house. We now received orders to withdraw to the east bank of the stream, which was done. The brigade changed front forward on 1st Battalion and marched into the wood known as McPherson's Wood and formed in a line of battle, the 19th Indiana being on the left of the 24th Michigan and the 7th Wisconsin on its right. In executing this movement, my lieutenant colonel and adjutant were severely wounded and did not afterwards rejoin the regiment, the former having lost a leg, the latter being severely wounded in the groin. The line of the 24th Michigan curved a little backward on the right, that wing being thrown back so as to connect with the 7th Wisconsin. Skirmishers were immediately deployed in our front and became at once engaged with the enemy. The woods were shelled, but I have no casualties to report as occurring at this time. I sent officers several times to the general commanding to report the condition of the line, and suggesting a change of position, as it was my judgment, untenable. To these reports of the condition of our line, I received answer that the position was ordered to be held, and must be held, at all hazards. The enemy advanced in 2 lines of battle, their right extending beyond the overlapping our left. I gave direction to the men to withhold their fire until the enemy should come within short range of our guns. This was done, but the nature of the ground was such that I'm inclined to think we inflicted but little injury on the enemy at this time. Their advance was not checked, and they came on with rapid strides, yelling like demons. The 19th Indiana on our left fought most gallantly, but was overpowered by superior numbers, the enemy having also the advantage of position, and after a severe loss was forced back. The left of my regiment was now exposed to an enfielding fire, and orders were given for this portion of the line to swing back so as to face the enemy, now on this flank. Pending the execution of this movement, the enemy advanced in such force as to compel me to fall back and take a new position a short distance in the rear. In the meantime, I had lost and killed and wounded several of my best officers and many of my men. The second line was promptly formed, and we made a desperate resistance, but the enemy accumulating in our front and our losses being very great, we were forced to fall back and take up a third position beyond a slight ravine. My third color bearer, August Ernest of Company K, was killed on this line. Major E.B. Wright, acting lieutenant colonel, was wounded at this time and compelled to leave the field. By this time, the ranks were so diminished that scarcely a fourth of the forces taken into action could be rallied. Corporal Andrew Wagner, Company F, one of the color guard, took the colors and was ordered by me to plant them in a position which I designed to rally the men. He was wounded in the breast and left the field. I now took the flag from the ground where it had fallen and was rallying the remnant of my regiment when Private William Kelly of Company E took the colors from my hand, remarking as he did so, "The colonel of the 24th shall never carry the flag while I'm alive." He was killed instantly. Private Lilburn, A. Spaulding of Company K, seized the colors and bore them for a time. Subsequently, I took them from him to rally the men and kept them until I was wounded. We had inflicted a severe loss on the enemy, but their numbers were so overpowering and our own losses had been so great that we were unable to maintain our position and were forced back step by step, contesting every foot of ground to the barricade. I was wounded just before reaching the barricade west of the seminary building and left the field. Previous to abandoning our last position, orders were received to fall back, given, I believe, by Major General Doubleday. The command of the regiment now devolved upon Captain Albert M. Edwards, who collected the remnant of it, and fell back with the brigade to Culp Hill, which it held for 2 succeeding days. About 80 of the enlisted men and 3 officers were reported as missing in action. Many of the men have never been heard from, and are known not to be in the hands of the enemy. They were undoubtedly killed, but not having been so reported, are not included in the above. Nearly all of our wounded, myself among them, fell into the hands of the enemy when he took possession of the town of Gettysburg. When the enemy evacuated the place on the night of the 3rd instant, most of the wounded were left behind. I have the honor to be, your obedient servant, Henry A. Morrow, Colonel, 24th Michigan Volunteers.